So I would love you to welcome a new member of our team, Kirsty Price, who is our social media guru. Hello there, Kirsty.
Hi, Andrew. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Lovely. Welcome along. Thank you very much for joining our team. It's fantastic to have you aboard. First of all, just tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure, of course. Thank you for having me as well. It's great to be on board. So a bit about my background, general marketing background, but I've specialised in social media since 2014. Initially in the agency world, so working for clients across a broad range of industries, B2C and B2B, including Amazon, Google, J&J, some financial institutions. And then, of course, now in the last couple of years, I've been focusing more on smaller businesses and startups, particularly in the tech space, which I'm quite interested in, and some e-com businesses as well.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really excited that you're going to be joining us and helping some of our folk with their social media plans as well. And did I see a cat wandering in just off?
Oh, possibly. This is my colleague Amber.
Right. Amber is really in charge, isn't she?
Yes. She takes up 80% of the desk space.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, Barney, the office dog, he's normally under here, but he's outside playing in the sunshine at the moment.
Oh, I don't blame him.
And could be playing with any of our 4 cats as well. So that's interesting. But listen, we're here to talk social media. And since we're on video, let's start off with a bit of news about video, because just look at my notes here. Facebook made a bit of an announcement just in the last week or so about some updates that they're doing regarding video.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think video is definitely kind of the key, the holy grail of social content at the moment, if you like, and will continue to be in the future.
What's really interesting is, because a while ago it was all about, short, sharp videos, 30 seconds to 60 seconds. That was a kind of sweet spot, wasn't it? But they're now saying that they're going to give precedence to videos kind of at least 3 minutes long, that they're getting that kind of engagement. What do you make of that?
I think it's all part of their push for quality content rather than volume of content. I think it kind of leans into the whole concept of storytelling being kind of key in marketing, and that people what they really want to see from brands is, are ads that tell a story, that pull them in, that make them feel something, rather than, just a quick little thing that doesn't really add too much value.
And that kind of 3 minute plus duration is the amount of time that we really need to try to get that feeling going, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good length of time. It's not too short, but it's not too long. And I think, they all say attention spans are decreasing all the time. So it's quite interesting that they think that that's going to be the sweet spot. So hopefully it will prove to be correct. But as you'll know, with all the algorithm changes, they're always a bit of an experiment. So it'll be interesting to see what the user base makes of that, and where things will go from there.
Yeah. When I'm speaking to clients and would talk about video, and people say, "Oh, I really don't like being in front of a camera." And
yes,
it's often the case. I spent 20 years behind one of these on the radio, but put me in front of one of these, and it's a different kettle of fish. I'm still getting used to being on video, and I'm sure you're probably the same. What tips can we give to people to be kind of more comfortable in front of a camera for the likes of Facebook?
Yeah, I think I probably need to take some of my own advice here, but I think probably the key thing would be just, rather than thinking if you're direct to camera with no one behind you, just talk to the audience rather than the camera. You know, remember that there are real people out there, and you know, speak to them just, you know, conversationally, as if you're, you know, say meeting them at a networking event or, you know, something like that. And also probably practice would be key. You know, I think the more times you expose yourself to something, the more used to it you get, and therefore the more comfortable you'll be with that.
And people, we've all got, you know, one of these kicking around. It's a TV studio in our pocket, and you can get away with shaky video, can't you? You know, holding onto your phone like that. But sound is really crucial. And if you want to refer to a video I made previously, a previous Savvy Marketing show, there's actually showing you how one of these works. It's just a clip-on mic there, and these are great for helping you to improve the sound quality on your videos. But yeah, you're right. It's just a case of doing it, really, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Just putting yourself out there, and being open to it. I think,
and being authentic as well.
Mm-hmm. I think
people like, you know, ultimately people want to do business with people. Mm-hmm. So if you come across as being, you know, as being yourself, as being authentic, and not trying to put on a persona which you can't maintain,
yes, mm-hmm.
people will buy into that. Now, something else that they were saying, just looking at my notes here, loyalty and intent. They're actively promoting videos that for people who actively seek out your videos. So people are coming back week after week. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. It's, I think, a big part of what Facebook's been working on in the last probably 2 to 3 years, in that they're sophisticating what they're doing and what marketers are able to do on their channel. So rather than thinking about, you know, single posts, single pieces of content, it's all part of, you know, a campaign or an ongoing process where, you know, you're nurturing people over time, and especially, as you say, people who have shown, you know, some form of intent that they're interested in what a business has to offer. And of course, we all know it's easier to, you know, to maintain that relationship once you've already got it, than to keep seeking out new relationships. So I think that's probably a smart move by Facebook, and one that marketers will be quite pleased about.
Yeah, because ultimately Facebook just want people to use Facebook more. So
yeah, all the eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And a kind of a cheat / shortcut that some people take is scraping content from YouTube and making compilations and that kind of thing. But Facebook are going to be clamping down on that.
Yeah, I think it's all part of that push for quality original content, and part of, you know, really taking ownership of the fact that they are a media company. So, and also taking a bit of ownership over the content that's actually shown on their platform. Of course, we all know about Cambridge Analytica and the backlash there was over that. So I think it's all ties into that, I guess, realization from Facebook that they have a sense of responsibility. So in turn, they want to push users, push creators, push brands who are using the platform to really go for quality there.
Here's kind of left field question for you then. Is Facebook, and you're going to say, yeah, of course, but, you know, is Facebook still very much the number one platform?
Oh, interesting. I think it's a case-per-case basis. You know, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, for certain brands I work with, I would say absolutely LinkedIn is number one. For others, it would certainly be Facebook. From a user-based perspective, though, I think Facebook is still number one. How long it will remain so is to be debated, and I think that's partially why, you know, over the last couple of years, we've seen Facebook, you know, move into different areas, you know, acquiring Instagram, WhatsApp, and really working on their messaging and group offerings as well.
So you mentioned groups there. You had some news about groups as well for us today?
Yes, so at Facebook's recent F8 conference, one of the key announcements to come from that was really that they were going to be putting a lot more emphasis on groups, and and maybe a wee bit of a shift will be seen from the newsfeed to groups. So you may have actually noticed when you've opened the app in the last couple of weeks, a prominent kind of hero section at the top, basically announcing that to users. And then also as you've been going through your feed, you might have seen a lot more suggestions for groups you may want to join and such like. So I think that's part of, again, Facebook's realization that, they want to go back to the basics of social and, creating and fostering communities and building connections.
I know what you mean, yeah, because personally, I'm on Facebook many times a day myself, and probably the majority of the time is actually interacting with group content. What about you?
Likewise, yes. Just I'm in numerous professional groups, some personal interest groups, and I find in there you can meet new people to connect with, build relationships with them, and also for me it's a source of news, but not just news as you would receive in the newsfeed, but news from trusted sources, and within that you can obviously have debate, have discussion with people who are like-minded, and also sometimes who have opposing views, and I think that adds an extra depth and richness to Facebook that maybe you wouldn't see in the newsfeed. I think people are perhaps a lot more willing to share and be open and authentic in closed groups rather than the whole of the world in the public news.
Yeah. And is it right that we're, if not already, that we're going to be able to advertise within groups as well?
I would hope so, yes. I have heard that, and for me as a marketer, it would be incredibly useful if that was the case, because I think the groups that you're a member of on Facebook say a lot more than the pages you like. You could like a page, just quite easily. Say you've been to this restaurant once, you enjoyed the food, you'll like the page. But I think the groups that you're a part of really speak to your identity, and for marketers, that's obviously crucial information.
Yeah, because it is, you could say it's amazing, you could say it's frightening what Facebook knows about you, because I was just hearing the other day that it's kind of rolling out to some advertisers already, but being able to advertise to family members.
Yeah, so that would be interesting. It kind of goes back to the whole, who is the real decision maker in the household, and I think that's quite an interesting point.
So you can give different messages to the influencer and the decision maker, and drive them both towards the same point.
Yes.
They've got you every which way, haven't they?
Yes. Perhaps another interesting point that would be useful to discuss would be just in the last couple of days, this announcement, this kind of furor that people will be able to clear their history, and of course what is then the impact that will have for advertisers. It's a purely personal choice, so people can choose whether they want to make this information public or not. Personally, I enjoy Facebook advertising. I enjoy receiving Facebook ads because the majority of the time that they are relevant to my interests, and I've discovered many products and services that I don't think I would have otherwise. So I'm all for it. I may be a bit biased as a marketer, but I think it's a smart move by Facebook, judging by kind of the criticism that they've been under lately, to put the power back into the hands of the people, if you like.
Yeah, I'm with you actually, because I like getting that, hyper-focused advertising. Just 2 days ago, an ad was shown to me for a service that I didn't know about, but I think now that I know, I thought, okay, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking into it more and more now. And I'm also hearing that people will be able to specify which websites that they don't want to be tracking them as well. So it's really putting control back in the hands of the public there. But the thing is, here's another question: how easy will it be for people to find out how to do that, and how much will Facebook kind of advertise, if you like, that facility is there?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think but I think it's all kind of part of this same movement, this kind of new mindset that Facebook HQ have. And I think they'll have to, I guess, make it prominent, similarly to what they've done with the new switch to a focus on groups, and display something at the top of the feed perhaps, and make that accessible for users, and of course make them as aware of it as possible.
Okie dokie. Well, listen, I think we've covered an awful lot in a very short space of time there, and I know you're busy. I don't want to be holding you up too much longer today, but we're going to endeavour to make this at least a monthly get-together to discuss things. So listen, if you have anything that you would like Kirsty and myself to be discussing on our regular catch-up, then do let me know, and we'll put the details in the comments below this. Anything that we should be looking out for over the next few weeks, though?
I'd say probably keep an eye on the whole group situation and how that evolves. Perhaps if you're a business owner, you don't have a Facebook group, think about ways that you could leverage that to build new connections and connect with people. Probably a good final word for social in general would be that things change all the time. Every week there's something new. So when these updates come about, don't be too alarmed. Just think, okay, how can I adapt?
And be sure to come back here to the Savvy Marketing Show to find out more about them and how you can take advantage of them as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Kirsty, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on board. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'll look forward to catching up with you next time, okay?
Great. Thank you for having me. Absolutely. Take care.
Bye for now.